Hey guys, welcome to Made by BritSie, episode number 15. I'm Brittany, and this is my podcast where I chat about everything that I've been knitting and sewing. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at MadeByBritSie, and I'm coming to you from Boston, Mass, where I live with my husband Dave and our 6-month-old daughter Mila. It has been about 2 months since I last recorded, and I did not intend for it to be that long, but the holidays came and went. We had guests and we traveled. So yeah, there's just been a lot of things going on around here, and I did not get a chance to record. Somehow 2 months just passes by really quickly, especially when you have a small baby that takes up most of your time. So Happy New Year's to everyone. I hope you all had lovely holidays. And because it's been so long since I recorded, I do have like 5 finished objects to share with you and also some sewing. And I did want to mention that, so I typically don't set New Year's resolutions for myself, but I am challenging myself this year to not buy anything, any new clothing. So that means I'm either going to knit or sew everything, or I will allow myself to thrift some items, but I am mostly going to try to focus on sewing, being mindful about what I'm sewing and knitting, and making sure that the items that I'm making are filling gaps in my wardrobe, so I'm not tempted to buy anything. So typically I'm not a huge shopper anyway, so I don't know if it will be that hard for me to do, but I think we do have some things coming up, like we have some vacations that I know I do tend to go on shopping sprees and get new clothes for vacation. So this year I'm not going to do that. I have plenty of clothes to begin with, but if I feel the need to have something new, I'm going to make it or thrift it. So I'm telling you so that I stick with it. So anyway, let me get started with showing you guys what I've finished. The most obvious one, as you can see, is right behind me. This is the Navelli, which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. It's a bottom-up colorwork sweater, knit in the round, and the pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, and I used all Madeline Tosh. This pink one, the main color is Star Scatter, and it's one of my favorites. I love Madeline Tosh, but I think this is probably one of my favorite colorways so far. This ochre color is Rye Bourbon, and this gray is Doe Eyes, I believe. Yeah, it was Tosh Mo Light and Doe Eyes. Which I've had in my stash for a while and I've used in several projects. And it's just a nice neutral gray. So anyway, I'm sure you've seen this before. Plenty of people have knit this, and I have to say I really do love it. I haven't had too many opportunities to really wear it out and about yet, just because it is Boston and it is the middle of winter. I actually hadn't planned on finishing this right now. I was gonna kind of let it hang out until spring came around, and then I was gonna finish it. But I think once the new year hit, I was just kind of excited to finish up some projects and kind of start off with a clean slate. So it did feel really, really good to finish that. I'm calling it my never-ending Navelli because I feel like it did take forever. Not because it's complicated or I mean, obviously it's a crop sweater, so it really shouldn't have taken that long. But I think I started this before I got pregnant, and then I kind of lost my knitting mojo while I was pregnant. And yeah, I don't know. It was one of those projects I put down, and once I finished the color work, I just really didn't feel like doing plain stockinette in the round. But now I'm so glad to have it done. I did do a sleeveless version, which wasn't my original plan, but after I finished the body, and tried it on. I really do like it sleeveless, and I feel like where the sleeves hit, I'll post a picture so you can see what I'm talking about, but I feel like where the sleeves hit on me, it's like right about here, and the sleeves on this, they are like, they kind of flare out, and the hem is double knit, so you knit like 2 extra inches and then fold it up and sew it in a contrasting color, so you do get a little pop of color, which is cool. But I just felt like on me it would not be flattering. Yeah, just where it hit and like the angle of the sleeve, I felt like it was not going to look good on me. I can always go back and add sleeves if I want to. I think this took, of the main color, it took a little more than 1 skein of yarn. I believe I knit the second to smallest size, and the pattern calls for plenty of positive ease. And I did like the look of that with the positive ease, and so yeah, I knit the small. I really like the way it fits. It is cropped, but it's not super cropped. So crop sweaters are very trendy right now, and I'm really been on board with that trend, mainly because I am short, I'm pretty petite, so like bigger sweaters tend to kind of overwhelm my frame, I think, and I don't feel like they're that flattering on me. And crop sweaters mean less time, less yarn, which is always a good thing in my book. So yeah, with some high-waisted jeans or high-waisted skirts or over a dress, I feel like the cropped look you can kind of make it work for you, even if you're not comfortable showing skin. Just because it's cropped doesn't mean you have to have your belly showing. Now that I'm a mom, I'm definitely not super comfortable doing that. So yeah, anyway, great project. Color work is beautiful. As with, I just love Caitlin Hunter's color work patterns, and it's nothing too crazy. Just, you're never knitting with more than 2 colors at a time. So yarn management isn't anything crazy. The inside I'm pretty proud of because I think that looks really nice. Sometimes with my color work I tend to be off of my tension, like it's either too loose and the floats are too long and they tend to snag, or too tight where I get puckering. But this one I think I nailed. So pretty happy about that. Yeah, so next up, I have, so we're going from big finished object to my smallest FO, which is the STEFFY headband, and it's a pattern by Morgan Woltersdorf. I made show notes for this episode, so they're right down there. So if you see me looking that way, that's what I'm looking at. So this is just a little garter stitch bandana. This was a super quick and satisfying knit. I did make plenty of modifications. So this one is the first one that I knit, and I knit this exactly according to the pattern. So as you can see, nothing crazy. It's you cast on your stitches, knit, garter for a little while, then start decreasing, and then you pick up stitches along your cast on edge and basically do the same thing. So this was knit out of worsted weight yarn and on, I think, size 8 needles, maybe bigger. For me, this was just too wide. It left, because my hair is short now, in the back it made kind of like that shelf, which I don't know if any of you guys wear bandanas. If you're not careful, if it's too wide in the back, it will like kind of cause your hair to stick out. So yeah, this size didn't work for me. It was also too long, and I also wasn't happy with the way the decreases looked. So I made a few modifications, basically, and this pattern is super easy to customize. First off, I used a sport weight yarn, and this is Woolen Vine's sport weight base in the Spinderella colorway. So I held it double. I think I still knit it on size 8 needles, but I didn't I didn't cast on as many stitches. I also didn't knit for as long as the pattern called for before I started decreasing, and I did my decreases a little differently. If anyone is interested, I'm happy to give you detailed notes. It is a paid for pattern, so I wouldn't be able to go into too much detail, but yeah, it's, if you do decide to make this, you can see how it's super easy to customize. So I actually plan on making a lot more of these thanks to postpartum hair loss. As you can see, I have all these baby hairs just all in the front. Like my hairline is kind of completely changed. I know it will grow back, but honestly, it took a big blow to my self-esteem, just having all the hair falling out and not being super thrilled with my new short hairdo. So I've been wearing a lot of bandanas, and honestly, I think they're cute, and it's something easy to do when I don't have a whole lot of time to get ready in the morning. And this was just such a quick, satisfying knit. So yeah, win all the way around. You can use pretty much any weight yarn that you want to. You can always hold it double. You can change the size of the needles. Really, you can make this work for you in so many ways. You can also use it as a tie, like around a ponytail, if bandanas aren't your thing. Yeah, so next up, I have, so this is something I talked about in the last episode, and I told you guys that I was probably going to make it. So I was super excited about this, and this is the ROSEAUX. It's like a little head wrap. I might see if I can get a decent looking picture of myself in this. So in the pictures not Instagram, on Ravelry, it looks so cute on the model. But on me, it is cute. I guess I just don't really like myself in hats or headwear, so, which I've mentioned before. But this is cute. It's super warm because it's double knit. You're basically knitting a tube and then twisting it. It's really cool. It has like a 1920s almost look. I think if my hair was a little longer and I could do like the waves like they show in the picture on Ravelry, I think I'd like it a little better. But it really is super cute, and it was super quick knit. It's, again, worsted weight yarn knit on fairly big needles. So side note, I think I've kind of quit mentioning like the size needles that I've used, that I use for my projects, mainly because I almost always use what the pattern calls for. I don't do gauge swatches. And then once I start knitting, if I realize that I'm not liking how the fabric is looking, like if it's too stiff or too loose, then I may adjust. But for the most part, I just stick with what is recommended. So anyway, yeah, so I think, like I'd mentioned in the last episode, her patterns are great. She has tutorials linked. Her photos are great. She recommends like the big craft store yarn, which I think is really cool, because it can kind of include, obviously for any pattern you can use whatever yarn you choose, but I feel like you know, a lot of times when they recommend like the more like the hand-dyed yarns and the more expensive yarns, it kind of makes you a little nervous maybe to use like an acrylic or something from the big craft stores. So I like that she uses those and recommends those, and also takes amazing pictures where I mean, it really looks great. Like I feel like the acrylic yarns get a bad rap because, you know, they can tend to look plasticky or kind of shiny. This I'm actually super happy with. It's very soft. This is, let me find my tag. So this is Red Heart Soft and the Toast colorway, and I think the color is beautiful. I don't know, just a nice neutral. Yeah, and I'm just super happy with it. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be a full-blown acrylic fan from now on, but for something small like a a head wrap or a hat, I'm totally on board with. So yeah, I'll try to get a decent picture of that, and if not, just trust me, it's cute. Knit one for yourself. You have nothing to lose because it's super quick. Next up, I have, so I think I'd also mentioned this before, that I have like one hat that I knit that is my favorite. So I've knit a ton of hats. Usually I don't like how they end up looking on me. This one is the exception. This is actually a pretty old finished object. But I haven't shown it on the podcast yet because I always forget. So I think I finished this about a year ago. And it was probably like after I recorded my last episode, and then I took my nice long break, and just haven't had a chance to show it to you guys yet. But this is called the Cable Hat, and it's a pattern by Dora Stevenson. And it's nothing crazy. This is just a simple, pretty simple cable pattern knit out of worsted weight yarn. I used wool of the Andes tweed in the down heather colorway. I feel like on every episode I have something that I have used this yarn in. I bought last year a ton of wool of the Andes tweed. It must have been on sale. I mean, it's already very cheap, but I don't remember why I bought like 3 colors in like sweater quantities and didn't end up using any of it for what I had intended to use it for. So now I'm trying to eat through it. I feel like I've knit so many things out of this, and I've still got 1 or 2 balls left. Oh, now I have fluff on my lip. Anyway, it worked out perfectly for this hat. This, for some reason, I don't know what it is about this hat. I just love it. It's the only hat I feel good in. It's warm. It was super quick and satisfying knit. I'll also try to get a picture of this and see if I can show you guys. I've been planning on making like so many more of these and just haven't had the chance. But this is just, normally I don't go for this color. I feel like it's kind of boring, but honestly, neutrals I'm starting to come around to because I am just able to wear this with so much. I think part of the reason I like this hat is because it just fits my head perfectly. Like, I always want to do the slouchy look, and it just, I don't know if I can pull it off. So this fits perfectly. And yeah, I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this hat. Last but not least, for my finished objects, or for my knitted finished objects, I have this adorable sweater that I knit for my daughter Mila. This is called Olive's Chunky Lace, and they have an adult version of this that I'm thinking about knitting for myself. But this I knit for my daughter Mila. It's just super cute, bottom up, knitting around lace work sweater knit out of worsted weight yarn. This yarn is actually another Knit Picks yarn. This is wool of the Andes. It was the bear color, so just their undyed wool, and I actually dyed it myself because I've been trying to practice dyeing. So it was my first time dyeing 2 skeins at a time. 1 skein got me through pretty much the entire sweater, except I had to start on the 2nd skein when I got to the ribbing on the neck. And you can see there is, the skeins didn't match exactly, but again, it was my first time, and I was okay with that. I was happy with both, and I wasn't planning on having to use both of them in the same project, so I wasn't super concerned about it. But anyway, yeah, it's not really a big deal. It doesn't bother me at all, and I don't think it bothers Mila. We'll never know. But yeah, this sweater is super cute. It was so quick, and I've really been wanting to make some sweaters for her. I mean, I don't know. I've had a hard time finding patterns for the small babies. I think most of them start, like the sizing starts at 12 months. So this is one that I think the smallest size was 9 months, and that's what I knit. Mila is 6 months, but honestly, this really fits her perfectly. I mean, it will definitely grow with her, I think. And she'll be able to wear it for the rest of this winter, and I don't know, maybe even next winter. We'll see. But yeah, the pattern was pretty straightforward. The only thing I did differently was the pattern called for knitting the sleeves separately and then sewing them on. So instead, I just picked up stitches around the armhole and then knit down and decreased instead of starting from the cast on edge and increasing. So I'm just not a fan of, or I'm a fan of avoiding any kind of seaming whenever I can. So if I can pick up stitches and knit, I'm gonna choose that option. So yeah, super quick knit. Definitely plan on making maybe one for myself and maybe another one for her, because winters in Boston are long and she's gonna need a lot of sweaters. So that is it, I think, for my finished objects. Moving on to works in progress. I only have 2, mainly because I finished so many things. And after finishing my Navelli, I'm kind of motivated to just start like checking things off of my list. So I'm trying to finish any languishing works in progress and be sort of monogamous. But as I'm saying that, I can't tell you how many patterns I have bought in the past month. I mean, every time, I just need to stay off of Instagram, because every time I see someone with an awesome sweater, I go immediately to Ravelry, buy the pattern, and think I'm going to cast on. So I have so many things that I want to start. Like, my head is just swimming with ideas. But so far, I've been pretty good, and I've got one big project casted on and some socks. So let me show you those. Okay, so start with the socks, because I think when I last recorded, I talked about working on these, but I don't think I started them yet. So these socks are nothing amazing. Well, let me take that back. The yarn is amazing. As far as the pattern, I'm just doing a vanilla sock. But I feel like with this yarn, they're really, I didn't want to do anything else, because this yarn is just so cool. I wanted the yarn to stand out and not, I mean, obviously any type of pattern would kind of get lost. So I think with a yarn like this that's heavily speckled, you pretty much have to do a vanilla sock, or maybe like Hermione's everyday socks. I think that would also be a good pattern to do with a yarn like this. But yeah, you don't want to do anything, or in my opinion, like lace or cables, anything that is going to get lost, because then your hard work is kind of for nothing. But yeah, so I just have a basic recipe that I follow for vanilla socks. I do a twisted rib. Twisted rib has become my default for ribbing on anything. I can't do regular rib anymore. To me, it looks sloppy. And the twisted rib isn't, I don't think it's that much more work. So I don't mind doing it, and I just like the way it looks better. I don't think you'll really be able to see on here. But anyway, yeah, so I just do twisted rib for about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. I don't knit crazy long socks, mainly because I usually end up folding them down anyway. So I don't like extra long socks. And then I just do fish lips kiss heel, and then knit the foot and then the toe. I knit on 9-inch circulars, which I love. This yarn is a yarn by Wren House Yarns. A viewer and friend sent me this. This is their City Streets colorway, and this is my first time knitting with sock yarn that has cashmere, and let me tell you, it is gorgeous. I love how it feels. It's super soft, and I cannot wait to have these on my feet. I've been wearing my hand knit socks like crazy around the apartment. It does tend to get pretty chilly in the apartment, even with the heat turned way up. My feet always seem to be cold. So while I can't say that I love knitting socks, I do love wearing them. So that's motivation for me to go ahead and get these off the needles because I would like them on my feet. So my next work in progress is something you've probably seen before. If any of you watch the Caddy Jacks Knits podcast, right? No, Caddy Jacks podcast. You will have seen this sweater. So I think between Caitlin, Jackie, Lily, and whoever else they have on the podcast, I think they've all knit one of these sweaters. And this is the LILI'S BOBBLE sweater. It is a bottom-up worsted weight sweater with bobbles on the yoke. And this is knitting up so quickly. Yeah, because it's worsted weight yarn, which I feel like most of my projects have been lately, and it's honestly been so nice knitting with worsted weight because it just goes so quickly. And I feel like now that my knitting time is kind of limited, you know, I'm kind of knitting in 10 to 15 minute increments when I get a chance, and sometimes when Mila naps, but usually that's when I get housework done. So yeah, it's nice to be able to knit for 10 or 15 minutes and feel like you've made some progress. Whereas, you know, with fingering weight, 10 or 15 minutes isn't gonna get you very far. So yeah, this is bottom up kind of crop sweater. It's not super short, but it does hit at your natural waist. So I think the pattern calls for worsted weight yarn held with mohair. At the moment, I do not have any mohair, but I do have some coming in. But I was fine with just starting with the yarn I had, which is another thing I'm trying to do this year is eat through the yarn that I have. So I feel pretty good about this. Is more of that Knit Picks wool of the Andes tweed that I mentioned earlier. So I feel really good about using this up. I'm not like super duper in love with this color. This is, I think, the Forest Heather colorway. I do like it, but would it have been my first choice for this sweater? Probably not. But I think I will like it when it's done. And I mean, I wear green all the time. I love green. I'll definitely wear it. But if I were to knit a second one, which I think I might, using the worsted weight yarn with mohair, then I think I'll choose, you know, a color that I like a little more. But yeah, anyway, it's going very quickly. So this is the body, and then it has you, once you get to, before you start the bobbles, it has you set that aside and start on the sleeves. So I've knit one sleeve and started on the second sleeve. So this I just started this morning, and I mean, really haven't put much time in this at all. And I already feel like, I mean, I've got a decent amount done. So yeah, this is moving so quickly, and I'm super excited to get this done because, yeah, I really don't have any like heavy sweaters that I've knit. Like, I haven't knit or finished any heavy sweaters this year. So this will be really nice to have finished and be able to wear while winter is still here. And they also have a mini version of the sweater, so I could make Mila a matching one, because yeah, the little baby sweaters just knit up so quickly, so I have no problem with us being twins. Okay, so that's it for my knitting. That was actually quite a lot, and I think I got through that somewhat fast. We'll see when it comes to time to edit. I do have some sewing for you, and these are two things that I had started when I was pregnant and just now finished them. They are for Mila, and I'm glad they still fit her because I think I was cutting it pretty close. So these are two little onesies. I'll insert a picture so you can see how they look on her. So these are actually the newborn size that I sewed up. These are actually the only baby, I don't know, baby clothes that I sewed for her. I did make blankets and crib sheets and yeah, plenty of other stuff. So these are the only clothes that I sewed for her. And I started like 4, never finished them, and now I have 2 out of the 4 finished. So this is one of them. It's just like a super simple onesie that ties at the top, and I used this butterick pattern. So that one that I just showed you is this version down here. Yeah, I don't know, not a whole lot to say. I guess for my first time sewing baby clothes, I was thinking, okay, super small thing, doesn't look too complicated, shouldn't take long at all, or shouldn't be frustrating at all. And I don't know, it wasn't that bad. At least this wasn't that bad. So I also made this one, which this is probably my favorite because I love this lace going down the front. But sewing tiny armholes is just not something I enjoy doing. So I think that's what the problem was. I am a perfectionist when it comes to sewing. Like I want it to look store-bought, and on these tiny armholes, it's just so hard to get the edge turned under and hemmed like just right. And I finally just had to let it go and finish them and realize that Mila is not going to care. Yeah, so these fit her. Probably won't fit her for too much longer. So yeah, sewing the newborn size, when I was sewing them, I wasn't sure like how big babies were, so I didn't know that they would be gigantic, but I guess it's a good thing that they are, because since I just now finished them, they still fit her, so that ended up working out. Yeah, so I don't know how many more things I will sew for her. At the moment I'm more into knitting for her, but I did get a super cute like little pants like harem style pant pattern for her. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm not buying any clothes for myself, or new clothes, and I'm going to try to do the same for her, but I think that might be a little harder just because obviously she grows. I don't know if my sewing can keep up with her growing. Okay, so I do have some stash enhancements to share with you guys. Since it has been 2 months since I recorded, we all know Black Friday happened. Normally I don't really participate in Black Friday, or at least I'm not going to get out and go to any stores. I will shop online, and Wool and the Gang had a sale. I've actually never ordered from them before, so I was pleasantly surprised when it came in and it was in this like super cool packaging. So sorry, this bag is so crinkly, so let me just get the yarn out and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so the first one that I got is this New Wave yarn, and this is the oyster shell colorway. This yarn is really cool. It's unlike anything I've ever knit with, and it's 53% cotton, 47% recycled polyester. This one is actually made from plastic water bottles, which I think is awesome. So I am super excited to knit with this. I plan on making the Tulip tank, which is a pattern by Morgan Waltersdorf, who is the same person that designed this headband. I'll insert a picture so you can see. My only concern is that it has this kind of like netting. I don't know if you can see that. And it does look like it's, I mean, obviously going to snag because it has snagged. So I'm a little unsure about that. We'll see. I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe this is one that my cat got a hold of and snagged, and hopefully that's not the case with all of them. Because I would hate to knit something and then have that keep snagging. We'll see though. I have high hopes. The next one that I got is this Tina tape yarn, which is also something unlike anything I've knit with before. This is 100% tinsel, and the description says it's 100% vegan, uses no chemicals, and saves water. Softer than silk and cooler than linen. Simply the best. So we'll see. It's super soft. I mean, it feels amazing. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna make out of this. I want to say like 6 balls. So I got enough to make like a decent sized project. So we'll see. I think this is a worsted weight. It's weird because it's like flat. I mean, it is kind of like tape. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this knits up. I'll let you know. Okay, so other like making plans, I guess you could call them, that I have are I want to make the Magnolia Mini, or Mini Magnolia. So it's another baby sweater pattern that I would knit for Mila. It's knit out of sport weight yarn, so I think I'm gonna use that as an excuse to like practice dyeing some sport weight and see how it knits up. The other thing I want to knit, I just watched the Girl Meets Yarn podcast, which I love her. If you guys haven't checked her out, she is hilarious. She had on her diaphanous raglan top, which is so gorgeous. So I watched that today and immediately was like, I need to knit one of those. So I ordered some yarn and I have some mohair coming in and I'm going to use it for that. And I am so excited. I think as soon as that comes in, I'm going to cast it on. Other things that I have in my brain to get started on. So I do have some sewing patterns coming in the mail. I signed up for the McCall's newsletter, so I get notified when they have big sales because normally I miss their sales and I don't find out about them until they're already over. So I signed up. I got notified that they were having a sale. It's actually been going on for quite a while. I think it ends tomorrow, which by the time I post this, it will already be over. So anyway, if you sew and you don't like paying full price for like the big 4 sewing patterns, then sign up for their newsletter so you can get notified, because they do run these sales where their patterns are like $3.99, $2.99. I think the Vogue ones are the most expensive ones, and they're $6.99, which still compared to their regular price, that's a pretty good deal. So actually the ones I ordered were I wasn't super thrilled with any of the like their spring collection patterns. So all the ones I ordered were their out of print patterns and they were like $1.99. So I'm very excited for those to come in because my Sojo has kind of come back. But I was going through my patterns and just wasn't feeling super inspired by any of the ones that I had. And with the challenge that I've set for myself to make my clothes this year, or all my clothes, yeah, I felt like I just needed, if I'm going to do that, I need to be making pieces that I'm going to wear. And so I needed to order some more patterns. So I did. And once they come in, I'm so excited to share them with you guys and show you what I'm hopefully going to be making. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything that I have to talk about in my world of making. I did just want to chat about what's been going on in my life. I always love when I'm watching a podcast and they like give you a glimpse into their personal life, because obviously we only know each other through this medium, and I think it just helps you feel a little more connected when you get to know the person that you're seeing on camera. And I love hearing about you guys too. Like, I love hearing where you're from, what you're working on. So the more that we can communicate about things like that, I am totally open to that. So anyway, what's been going on in my life? Well, as you know, I have a 6-month-old daughter, Mila. We did sleep training a couple weeks ago, and she is now sleeping from 7 at night till 7 in the morning, and it has just been amazing. So she was on a crazy sleep schedule prior to that, where she wasn't going to bed until like midnight. and then she would sleep until 10 or 11 in the morning. And that was really weird. I mean, it kind of worked for us because my husband and I are both night owls, so we normally don't go to bed till midnight anyway. So she would nap throughout the day and then take we'd always try to put her down for bed around 8, hoping, like, fingers crossed, that it would be bedtime. And then lo and behold, she'd wake up an hour later and just would be wide awake and did not want to go back to bed until midnight when we went to bed. Well, it got to the point where she was even pushing that bedtime. It would be 1, 2 in the morning, and she still was fighting sleep. And it was so frustrating. My husband had moved to the guest room because I'm officially a stay-at-home mom now. More on that in a minute. But my husband has to get up and go to work. And Mila was in our room. So that just was not working out well. So my husband moved to the guest room so he could get some sleep. Me and Mila were in our room, and I was just at my wit's end. So we did some sleep training, like the gentle sleep training where you put them in the crib, and they're going to cry, of course, and at least she does. But you leave them for 5 minutes, you check back in, then you leave them for 10 minutes, check back in, which I wasn't a huge fan, or I didn't think I'd be able to do the whole cry it out thing. But as it turned out, she was going to cry no matter what. So she was going to cry whether I was right next to her and soothing her, or whether I was out of the room. She was going to cry. So we ended up doing that method, and it worked really well for us. Now she's sleeping through the night, and I feel better because I'm getting sleep, and I feel better knowing that she's getting the sleep that she needs. So yeah, that has been huge for us. So I guess what I'm getting to is that now I do have time to myself again at night from 7 until like midnight when I go to bed. I have that time back. So I'm feeling so motivated to make things, and yeah, it's just been amazing. So yeah, I am officially a stay-at-home mom now. Basically, I was on maternity leave, and it's kind of funny because when I was on maternity leave, I knew I probably wouldn't go back to work full-time, but I thought I might go back to work a little. So I kind of treated maternity leave as like vacation, and just didn't feel super motivated to get in any kind of routine or schedule. So now that we have kind of a schedule, I feel like as opposed to before when I didn't know if I would get any time to do any creative things. So I wasn't super motivated to work on anything. Now she's napping, she's sleeping. I kind of know when I'm going to have time to myself, so I can get like pumped up to work on projects and get excited about making things because I know I will have the time. And it just feels so good. Yeah, so the only other things we have going on is we've got some vacations planned. I'm going to Texas in March for 2 weeks. Mila and I will be going alone. So I'll be flying with her alone for the first time. We all flew for Christmas, and that was kind of chaotic. Hopefully it will go smoother this time, so we'll see. But yeah, because my family is in Texas, whenever we travel for the holidays and my husband comes, you know, he's kind of limited to how much time he can take off because of work. But since I'm not working, that's another benefit to staying at home, is that I can go to Texas and stay for a couple of weeks at a time. I mean, it will be hard to be away from Dave for that long. He's going to miss us. We're going to miss him. But it will be nice to spend that time with my family and not have like the chaos of the holidays where we're just going from house to house to house. So I'll have a new cousin that's going to be born in a couple of days. So that is so, so exciting. So yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up, and I cannot wait to share with you guys. And I hope all of you are doing well. Thank you so much to any new subscribers. Thank you to anyone who's still listening, because this ended up being kind of rambly. Hope you guys have an awesome couple of weeks, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.